Welcome everybody. Hey, this is Alicia McPeak, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here today. Now, I'm going to start with a question for you ladies out there. This is a conversation for ladies specifically. I want to share this beautiful journey of this beautiful lady who has gone from a place of not having or feeling very self-worthy, and because of that, binge eating and doing other kind of destructive behaviors, to a place of self-love and even making that into a new career. And the importance of this is, how many of you out there are really dissatisfied with your life? No matter how much you love what you do, you may be unhappy at work, but thankfully it doesn't have to be permanent. Are you as a woman looking for success in your life, or a passion or a purpose or a direction? Or have you started something you don't know how to make it into what you, in your mind's eye and your heart, want it to be? Are you unfulfilled? Well, if you are any of those things, whether it be work or body or health, Nadia can help you. Nadia is an intuitive success coach. Now, she helps female coaches and healers specifically but all kinds of ladies, setting powerful strategies by removing mindset blocks and stepping into their full feminine power to create unstoppable success in their businesses. Nadia is also a certified life coach and NLP practitioner and a social media expert. Who doesn't need a little social media expertise out there these days? It's a lot of noise. So after researching the best ways to become successful, she's found that strategies, mindset, and masculine and feminine energies are three areas you need to work on to become magnetic and to create massive success. So are you guys ready to create massive success? So Nadia, I want to make sure, I'm not going to pronounce your name perfectly, but I'm going to get as close as I can. So welcome to Nadia Gargallo. Do you want to tell everybody actually how to say your name really well?
Nadia Gargallo.
Gargallo.
Gargallo is perfect. For English pronunciation is much easier.
I'm so excited that I met Nadia through Instagram. She does have a beautiful presence out there, and she's paying attention. She's working to actively help a lot of women. But Nadia, would you start by letting everybody get to know you a little bit? Tell everybody a little bit about your journey to where you are today.
Oh, for sure. I would love to. It's a long one, but I'll try to make it short. So yeah, I studied business administration back in my hometown. And I started to work in an office. I was working there for 10 years, but I was feeling very unfulfilled. Like every morning was so hard to wake up. And every time I had holidays, it was so difficult to go back to work. I would feel completely depressed. Didn't like my job at all, but like you pay your mortgage, your car, your bills, and you're supposed to have a job. But after that long time working for that company, I decided I wanted something else. And I went to London. I moved out from Spain, and I went to London. I went with the idea of just improving my English because I loved languages, and I was thinking maybe to work with international companies. But then when I was there, I saw so many opportunities that I decided I wanted to stay there and look for something else that would make me more fulfilled. So I went into studying fashion, buying a merchandising. I wanted to create the clothes and be involved in all these things. They still work with countries because they deal with the factories and the manufacturing. So I studied that, which was quite hard. And when I got my office job, I ended up feeling exactly the same way. Like it was a different industry, but the feeling of being in the office, working 9 to 5, the rat race, it was very, very similar deep in my heart. And I always have had this feeling, which I call my inner wisdom or intuition. And I guess a lot of women can identify with this, that inner feeling of there is something else. You don't know what that is, but there is something else. There is another level. Like the feeling of this is not it.
Right.
What happened is I got this job, and I ended up earning less money after 3 years of studying than what I was earning in hospitality while I was studying. So I was working in like cocktail bars and pubs and stuff just to support myself while studying and learning English. And I'm also a dancer, so I've been dancing all my life. And in London, I went into the Latin dance scene. and I ended up teaching. And it's a very competitive world, so I started to look a lot about my nutrition and exercising extremely. I went into fitness like crazy. And what happened with pushing myself so much with this is that I developed binge eating disorder. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's literally eating compulsively. So I was trapped in this cycle because I didn't want to live my lifestyle. I didn't want to stop exercising. I was even scared of putting on weight because obviously you need to be there. You need to dance in front of everyone. And as I said, it's a very competitive world. So I started to have this very poor relationship with my body and food and exercise. And I got trapped in this cycle. But then I realized there was a point where it was too intense. I was binging more and more frequently. And I realized I couldn't carry on that way. And here is where I really had to start working on my self-development, because a lot of it was first stopping the restriction, stopping the extreme exercise, but a lot of it was my mindset and how I felt within. So I had to start doing a lot of work, and my self-development journey started, and a lot of it was work on self-love and self-acceptance. So
sorry, you paused, so I jumped in, but go right ahead.
No, so I started to work a lot on self-love and accepting myself and seeing the things in my life that they didn't make me happen, because it was a very tough time of my life, because it was together that I was recovering from binge eating, and I was having a job that had a very, very low salary that didn't allow me to go on holidays. London is extremely expensive in terms of living costs. And I was earning, after 3 years, studying, like £1,200, which is nothing in London. Like I had to actually save just to get a ticket to go back to Spain to visit my family. So it was really bad. And then I was going through the recovery of the eating disorder. And I also broke up with my boyfriend at the time, which was a 4-year relationship. I had to go back, live again in a shell house, in a small room. So you can imagine, with 33 years old at the time, that was feeling like an absolute failure. So I had to start doing a lot of inner work and see like how I could change that feeling, like how horrible I felt. And as I started to work on myself and recover from the binge eating disorder, I realized I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to help other women who were suffering from the same. So that's the point where I decided I wanted to become a coach.
Okay, so pause there, because we'll come into more about the coaching. I can remember I've been self-employed or in a contract type position for most of my life, but before I was in the corporate world. And I remember being so excited on Friday and starting to get depressed Sunday night. Like, it's a horrible feeling. And I remember thinking, I'm just a rat in a cage on a wheels, going round and round and doing the same thing every day. And I thought, is this it? Is this life? It's a horrible feeling. And I bet so many women, men too probably, but so many women, since we're speaking to that, really could feel that way. In fact, I had a great conversation yesterday with a girlfriend of mine on a very similar subject. And you talked about that intuition, like knowingness that there's something more. However, I will say that there was a time I was not in touch with my intuition at all. And there was a time that I binge ate. There's a time that I restricted. There was a time I over-exercised, like all of the things you talk about pretty much. But you made these huge life changes. And I really can tell you, I didn't know what self-love was. I remember thinking, I'd hear people say that and I was like, what does that even mean? Self-love? Like, I didn't get it. So let's start with the intuition piece and then talk about how you know what self-love is.
Yeah, well, the intuition piece, now I use it like as a tool in my coaching, and I teach my clients how to use intuition. But before, when I had that inner knowing, which now I know is intuition, or like your inner wisdom, your soul is speaking, at that time I didn't know what that was. But I just knew, like, I didn't want to, in Spain, the salaries are crazy low. You live on 900,000 euros. And I knew there was something else. I knew I wanted a different lifestyle. I wanted something else, but you just don't know what that is.
Right.
It's something that tells you this it's not it. It's something else. I don't know what, but it's something else. But at that point, I didn't know what my intuition was. I was not tapped into it.
So would you say that when you feel that little voice, or you have that little inner knowing, and I would say, even probably from my perspective, and I know you teach this for a living, so you can say what you can add to this, but from my perspective, it would be, if you can just get quiet and honor the thoughts and feelings you're having. And I remember going from not listening to my intuition to listening to my intuition and being very unsure if it was my intuition or not, and then deciding, you know what, I'd rather err on the side of caution than not listen, because anytime I had ever had red flags or felt certain ways and didn't follow that, I'd always regretted it. So it became a practice of, okay, this is what I think I'm feeling. And then you come to trust it and believe what you're feeling and hearing more. Would you say that's a good way to look at it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you want to listen to your intuition, you definitely need to turn down the noise. There is no other way of listening to your heart, your intuition, that inner knowing.
Perfect.
If a lot of noise is going on, if you are always busy, you don't slow down, no way you can listen to it. You can have like shots of it, but you wouldn't understand deeply what's going on if you want to tap into your intuition. But you still can have that feeling of there is something else. But the thing is, we have fears. We are supposed to live that way. You are supposed to have a mortgage, have a corporate safe job. So then you might have these dreams or these things that pop in your head of those feelings, and then turn them down.
Yep, absolutely.
Because I had this feeling of like, okay, there is something else. I know there is something else, but then it's like, okay, no, I'm supposed to have this job, or like, let's try this, or let's try that. You don't really follow those dreams.
Right. And I was getting back to my girlfriend conversation yesterday, because when I hear her talk about like her dreams and her feelings and her intuition, the things that she wants, I'm like, yes, go for it. But when it's you, it's like, oh no, I can't. I need to be safe. I have bills to pay. I have, blah, blah, blah. But all of that stuff can be taken care of if we truly do. And I think if you just take one step towards what you think you want,
exactly,
you're going to start
That's
finding.
The problem, that we don't know how to make our dreams happen. And then so let's say that you have a dream and you just see the big picture, but you don't know how to get there. And by seeing the big picture, you are like, oh my God, this is impossible. How I'm going to get there? But if you actually break down everything into smaller steps, or you just start taking one small step at a time, eventually, if your focus is there and you don't stop, you will get there.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very scary.
Well, let's talk about how self-love ties into this, because like I said, I really didn't know what that meant. In fact, I only think recently, I actually recently wrote a post saying what I feel like it means to me. And I don't know if this will change, but what it means to me right now is giving myself compassion and grace, like looking at the inner child of who my soul is, and then just loving that person. And when I looked at it differently like that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But let's talk about it in relation to finding your way to love yourself and creating your dreams out of that.
Yeah, for me at the beginning, it was a lot about my self-body image and how I was feeling at the time because of recovering from binge eating. Obviously, my metabolism was so slow and I was really fit. I have a great body, but because I was forcing myself so much. But I really had to start working on self-love because as soon as I stopped dieting and my metabolism was so slow, I gained weight like crazy. Yep. So it was really tough for me. And I realized that what I was doing is always looking for something else. I was not content with myself. That's why I kept forcing myself. I didn't want to put away and more exercise and more dieting. So at the beginning, it was a lot around that. So I had to start first listening to my inner voice and what I was saying to myself, how I was treating myself. Because it's crazy when you start getting aware of your own thoughts and how you talk to yourself. And now that I practice this so much and I help my clients and I'm coaching constantly, I'm obviously aware of the things people around me say, people who don't work in self-development, who are not coaches. And the way we talk to ourselves can be so mean, like crazy mean, like, oh my God, I hate this role that I have here. Oh my God, my legs are so horrible. And it's like we are constantly punishing ourselves and being so mean.
Mm-hmm.
So self-love is about, for me, is about changing that narrative, and is starting to be compassionate. Is a little bit what you say, compassionate with yourself, and talk to yourself in a more kind way.
Right, which is what we would do with a child, you know, or
Exactly.
so that's how I think when I connected myself with my inner child, and I've heard that stuff too in the past. I never like connected with that. It was only recently I was like, I have daughters and I have grandchildren and I love them so much. And when I was like, oh my gosh, you love them so deeply, and I'd probably forgive anything they did, you know, like there's such a compassion and grace for them. Then I was like, you are that person too. You deserve that too. So it was a big switch for me recently. So let's talk about it. Let's move into like a business idea from it, because yeah, we do need to we do have horrible narratives. We do talk to ourselves bad, but not just about our body image. For me, there was also, and tell me if you had any of this, because you went from being employed, corporate world, to starting your own business and businesses. And that's very scary. But I've always had what I call second place mentality. Like I do better than 99% of the people with what I do. I'm that much braver. I do that much better in the things I do. But there was always this narrative of mine that, you know, I don't get to have that. I don't get to go that far. I don't get to have that much. You know, I could get to here, but I didn't get to go to there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would call it the scarcity mindset. Like there is always
exactly.
like something you can get or you feel you won't be able to achieve for sure.
Right. And it's specifically, I don't get to, you know, because like there's something inherently wrong with me, or, you know, that kind of narrative that we have.
And when it comes to business, I do see a lot of that in terms of comparison to other coaches or other people out there. And we don't realize that our journeys are completely different.
Right.
And our experiences are completely different. So there is no way you can compare to anyone else, even if they have been the same amount of time as you, because we all have different traumas, different perspectives on things. The blogs that you might have might not be the same blogs that I have. You might have a very open mindset to money. I might have money blogs. You might feel imposter syndrome. So like you don't feel you are good enough or have the enough skills, and I might feel okay with that. So like everyone's journey is different, and a lot of times we compare with people who are already here or have been in the industry for many years, and obviously they went through their own struggles. It's not like they got successful straight away, but we still compare. Oh my God, she has this. No, I'm not gonna be able to achieve that. So a great practice is being compassionate to yourself and honor where you are, and take those people instead of as comparison, as inspiration of where you can get. So just making that shift. And this happens like with women in general. It can be in your career, it can be in your business, it can be in the gym, wherever. We see other women and we feel competition, and we feel we are not good enough and we are not going to be able to achieve what they have achieved. And instead of that, we should use them as inspiration.
These are common blocks for women. There's people, there's money blocks, right? Another big one of mine, talk about scarcity mindset. For me, it has always been like struggle and lack. I need to struggle and there's never enough, you know? So struggle and lack narrative running in my head, but I know a lot of people have different issues. Some people feel like money's bad, like different issues. And then comparison, imposter syndrome, all these things you mentioned are very, very common. I've been a coach of some sort or another my entire life. And so I believe in working with coaches. So if somebody is blocked, this is where you come in, right? First of all, if you want to do something and you haven't found your way to create the inner dialogue to make that happen, Nadia can help you with that. But there's also like, if you were out there and you're struggling and you're a coach or a healer or you're transformation or anything like that, you can get help. And I'm all about hiring coaches, like shorten the amount of time. I've hired coaches my whole life. I continue to hire coaches. I will always hire coaches. I've been coaches. You need to get coaches because it's what's going to take you from wherever you are to the next level. And sometimes just, first of all, having a different perspective, seeing things differently, but a different narrative that's given to you because you don't even notice sometimes what you're saying. So you want to share a little bit about how you help these women go from not being able to even start their dream or being in a place in their dream that they're stuck to a next level.
Yeah, so I help mostly women who are at the very beginning stages of the business. So women who are becoming coaches, healer therapists, and they feel stuck into how to stand out on social media. So many people, so much noise, so many competition. I don't like to call competition because I believe in collaboration, but yeah.
Me too.
A lot of people out there doing similar things, and it can be very scary first to get visible, to put yourself out there, second to stand out, and third, knowing how to get in front of the right audience and signing up clients. So I help them with the social media strategies. I've been very, very passionate about understanding all the intrinsics within social media. And then I help them with the mindset, because mindset is 80% of your results. The strategies matter, finding the right strategies for your business matters, but without the right mindset, there is nothing you're going to do. 80% of your results is mindset.
In anything.
In anything, yeah. Not about business, in anything, that's for sure. And with mindset, what I do as well is I don't believe what we have in the surface is the root of it. So what we have in the surface, what we see consciously, what you are capable of seeing is excuses, is beliefs that you build around a fear that's deeper in your subconscious. And here's where I use NLP. So NLP is amazing to really tap into the subconscious and find the root of it, remove the beliefs from the root, and it creates amazing shifts.
And we talked about, sorry, Nadia. We talked about, and when we talked previously before this actual interview, about how these changes can actually, with the help of a knowledgeable NLP coach practitioner, actually shift pretty quickly. Like things you've been struggling with your whole life, you can shift. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, straight away. I can share a story of one of my clients.
Oh, that'd be great.
She had a shift straight away. So this client of mine, one of my strategies is getting onto the DMs and create genuine conversations and relationship with your potential clients or your dream clients. And she was procrastinating into doing that. And I saw that. So in another session, I asked her, like, why are you not taking action on this? And she started to say, oh, actually, I don't believe like reaching out to people on the DMs is authentic. I don't feel it's genuine, and I don't think people like it. So she was creating these values and beliefs around DMing people. And then I know like creating connections and building those relationships is everything when it comes to signing up clients and like seeing if people need your help. So she was completely blocking her results and success. So I said, okay, we're going to do an NLP session because I really feel there is something else behind here. So we did an NLP session, and what happened is what we uncovered, it was a fear of rejection. So she was creating those false values in her conscious mind, those false values and beliefs saying it's not authentic, it's not genuine, people don't like to be DM'd, because deep down she had a big fear of being rejected, of talking to people and people saying to her, no, I'm not interested, I don't need your help, I don't want to get on a call with you.
That's huge.
It's amazing. Yeah. And actually, once we cleared that on the session, so we worked on removing those beliefs and integrating new ones. And straight away, she went to reach out 3 people she talked to like a few weeks ago, and she was hesitating to contact back. And 3 of them said yes to get on a call with her.
Yes. Okay. So what's really big, let's unpack that for just a second. What's really big there is what we try to do is fix the problem that's in front of us. We're always saying, okay, so you don't feel like it's authentic. Well, let's talk about how it is authentic, but that's not the problem. So it doesn't matter how much you talk about why it's okay to message somebody, because you don't get to the root of it, you're never going to fix it.
Exactly.
Okay. That is so huge. So tell me, when you say, okay, so now we discovered it's the fear of rejection, just discovering that, does that automatically release you from it, or is there more
No,
work
so
behind it?
when I do my NLP sessions, I do like a mixture between hypnosis. So I do them closed eyes, and I really make them connect with the inner feeling, which makes you really go into the subconscious. And what you do is something that's called an unburdening, or like removing the beliefs. So in that state, you ask them to do like kind of a ritual in their mind where they see completely getting rid of those beliefs, and then you integrate new ones. So then you talk to that part of your subconscious, you give them all the new resources that you have, because most of those parts are created in our childhood, in our teens. So there are parts of us that learn something through experience that's been traumatic or difficult, or like had a big emotional charge. And back then, you don't have the resources, you don't understand the world, but they keep there, and they keep making us behave in certain ways in our adult life. So when you get there, you remove the beliefs, and then from this new place, as a grown-up adult with all the inner wisdom that you have, we give the new beliefs and resources we want that part to have, and then we integrate it.
Okay, so that's perfect. And I imagine that there's probably, you have to do something about that right away. So you reiterate the new behavior and the new way of thinking, because you can immediately start rewiring new neural pathways, but they will quickly unwire themselves if you don't reiterate that.
Exactly. So what you do is in the session, you give the new beliefs, the new resources, so you create the new pathways, and then I give them tools for the next 3 weeks to reinforce those new pathways.
Very good.
Because it's exactly what you said. If you create a new connection, but then you don't reinforce it, it disappears again.
Yeah.
So you need some daily practices, like affirmations, journaling, checking with your inner child or your inner parts for at least 21 days to reinforce those
visualization. Beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about what people would do if they wanted to find out about working with you, and kind of what that would look like if they did work with you.
Yeah, so if they would like to find more about me, they can check my website, which is www.nadiagargalo.com. And I am also on Instagram and Facebook, a lot more active on Instagram, I have to say. My handle is, again, Nadia Gargalo. They can find me there. If they want to have a complimentary call for anyone who is listening to this, they can just reach me out on the DMs, and I'll be happy to offer them a complimentary call where we can discuss and see if they are a good fit. At the moment, I'm just working one-to-one. From time to time, I do group programs, but right now I'm focusing on one-to-one clients, and my program is 3 months. So if anyone is interested, I will be more than happy if they just reach me out through Instagram, send me a DM.
Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Because having a conversation with you, first of all, I bet you'll discover really quickly with somebody some things that are holding them up. And just by doing that, you're going to realize how powerful working with Nadia can be. And I mean, then why wouldn't they? I mean, if you're going to help them break through the stuff that's been holding them back, which you will. And I'll put all of her information in the notes so you guys can go straight to her links. I want you to be able to find her easily. Before I close though, Nadia, is there anything else, like a tip or anything else about your coaching or anything else you'd like to share with everybody?
Well, anything else about my coaching is, as well, you said that right at the beginning, is about the masculine and feminine energy.
Oh, that's right. This is my favorite thing you told me about.
Super, super important. And a lot of people don't understand. And because we live in a very masculine patriarchy, we have learned to do things the masculine way. And we are always pushing, doing more, planning, organizing, and we don't flow with life. And stepping into your feminine energy is allowing more of that flow, of the posing, of stopping to always be driven by results, of doing more, pushing more, forcing ourselves, and really allowing that space where we can just be, enjoy, feel the pleasure of life, because the feminine energy is the receiving. So if we are always giving and pushing, we are not creating the balance to receive.
That's true.
And the universe is created in harmony of the opposites.
If we're pushing against our feminine energy, what's that causing for us other than resistance?
Yeah, so we're blocking becoming magnetic and attracting everything we want to attract or create in our lives. We
Very
create
good.
resistance and things don't flow in an easy way. We just need to keep pushing and pushing to achieve more. And sometimes we don't even achieve that more. We just feel burnout and so drained and
Exactly.
exhausted and stressed and anxiety. Like, how big is anxiety nowadays?
Oh my gosh, it's huge. Well, I think women who've worked in the corporate world, I know this was true for me, you feel like you have to be more masculine. And so you start stepping more and more into that.
Of course.
And then to reverse that and just be okay with being the authentic feminine woman that you are, and bringing that energy to the table has so much value. I know I did. That's why women get called bad names in business.
When women started to step into corporate, we had to compete with all these men, and men living in the injured or wounded masculine energy, because there is the divine masculine, that the masculine energy is necessary. Some of the planning of the strategies are necessary. So it's the right combination, the beautiful harmony and balance between the masculine and feminine. But the thing is, we live in a wounded, injured or negative masculine society right now. And we had to go into corporate and compete with all these men. So we became masculine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm going to put all Nadia's information in the show notes. When you reach out to her, make sure you heard about her through this conversation. And I want you guys right now on YouTube, go right now and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of these amazing chats. Like, wasn't this amazing? This was absolutely amazing. Nadia, you bring so much value to the world and so much value to women. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.